gatto, Mr. Roboto.
Dopo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Dopo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have joining us Kat Cressida. She'll be talking about her upcoming appearance at Toyman right here in St. Louis next month, how you can see her. We'll talk about her career, and we'll talk about her dedication to pediatric cancer. Later on, Joey V and I will review some of Netflix's newer projects. All that and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors, 4 Hogwarts houses, 1 ring rules and more. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And if you're driving around the greater St. Louis tonight, the area listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you are streaming us on the KTRS app or on the website, we appreciate you doing just that. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, hello to all of you out there watching. And as always, if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts, we appreciate you finding us there. And if you can, try to catch us live every Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. But, you know, if you can't do it, you're listening to us after the fact in the podcast, and we appreciate that. A full show tonight. We're going to go right to my guest. I'm so excited. For those of you listening, you may be like, I think you've had Kat Cressida on before. Yes, but it's been a while, and this time she's coming here to St. Louis next month, just in time for Christmas, which will make everyone's holiday brighter. So I welcome to the show Kat Cressida. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. It's so exciting. Chris always brings in the best guests. Chris McQuillan, who runs Toyman Toy Show, obviously, longtime listeners will know I've had him on quite a bit here. I've set up there from time to time to sell some stuff of mine, but you always have to go because he always has such great guests. You're going to be his December guest, and it's, I assume you're bringing with you probably 3 or 4 carry-ons full of Funko Pops and Jessie toys from Toy Story and things like that for people who maybe not want to bring their own.
Even better, we're shipping them out. I've got like giant boxes of awesome Disney merchandise, vaulted, exclusive Haunted Mansion merchandise, all kinds of really amazing things that you wouldn't normally find at a Comic-Con.
So yeah, I guess that's with them vaulting stuff, because Disney does that with the DVDs, the movies, and Funko Pops and everything like that too. So I guess that's kind of a perk of being with Disney is you're like, oh, I've got a couple of these I've got put aside, so now you can bring them out for special occasions like Toyman.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you find? I mean, looking over your IMDb, we could spend the next 5 Sundays talking about all the roles you played. But do you find people come at you for, oh, Jessie from Toy Story, or oh, it is from Haunted Mansion? Does it depend on the age? What's the demographic of who you find coming up to you to get things signed, and what's the most common thing? Like, this is what I want you to sign for me.
I mean, the truth is every show is different. Every Comic-Con or fan event that I'm honored to be invited to is very different. Mm-hmm. Some of them really focus on the toys and the collecting and, the actual physical media. Some of them are really about pop culture and the TV shows and the films, which is why I have all my 8x10s as well of all the most of the main characters I've been honored to voice that are the most requested. But honestly, it always amazes me. 2 things. One is that it's very clear that when people have a fandom, that's what their focus is. Right. And they'll see my banner behind me with some of the shout outs to the better known characters that I've been honored to do, but they'll focus on one, and that's what matters to them. Yeah. And I totally understand that because I've got mine too. The other thing that comes up a lot, and I'm sure it does for other voice talent too, because one of the things about voiceover versus maybe other medium is that it does often call for a versatility, and we're not defined by our looks as much as on camera might be, unless you're Meryl Streep, where you can be anything. But people will be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that the voice of Bloody Mary is also the voice of Jessie the Cowgirl. Or I had no idea that the voice of Dee Dee is also the voice of the Haunted Mansion Bride, because they're very different voice prints and very different fandoms. So that happens a lot. And I've been very fortunate that I ended up, as my career has moved forward, to be in different fandoms that have no relation to each other. But as far as what the most popular are, honestly, I mean, there's sort of my main five, which I always list off, which is Jessie, Dee Dee, I'm going to blank on them, the Haunted Mansion Bride, that's three, Princess Leia, and Elektra, are sort of like the main three that represent Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, Disney, Cartoon Network. And then there's other ones like Kala from Tarzan and Uda from Archer. That's blown up over the past year. I've sold more of those 8x10s, I think, than any of them. And also interesting things that I would think that fans wouldn't necessarily know or remember, which is very naive of me. But I was at one event literally 2 months ago where there was a giant Star Trek, a huge bunch of, I guess, Trekkies or people really absorbed in all of the Star Trek fandom. And I voiced a lot of stuff for video games, but I don't tend to think of it as sort of like what I lead with or what I'm really known for. And even more obscure, or at least to me, because it's in my past, was Babylon 5, which is a sci-fi show from way back in the 90s. That was a big deal for me because it was my first big TV appearance. And I just forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, I have the 8x10 out because last year it got requested. And I sold out of those at that show. All the Star Trek fans were huge Babylon 5 fans. And I was like, who knew that this is still very vibrant and alive to these fans?
There's such a crossover, I think, especially there's, we were kind of talking about this with a friend of mine, the nostalgia waves were kind of starting to crest into the 90s nostalgia. And I know there was just a Threads conversation that I was pulled into and started commenting on. Babylon 5 seems like it's blowing up again. People are now rediscovering it because of streaming, and the fans who loved it before said, oh, I've got the DVDs, I'm going to go back and rewatch that. So I love to see these as the different fandoms, things are coming back with a vengeance, and Babylon 5 is certainly one of them.
Yeah. I've been very surprised. And I was very young when I did it. It was definitely, I had just gotten my SAG card, and it was the big deal for me. I hate, this makes me sound like such a youngster, but all I remember was that, God bless him, Kinnicky, the actor who played Kinnicky in Grease. Jeff Conway, is that right? I hope I'm getting
in the movie
right.
version?
In the Grease movie version, he was Kinnicky.
I'm trying to think.
And he played a captain, or he played some part of the fleet on Babylon 5 in its first few seasons. And that's all I was obsessed with was, oh my God, Kinnicky from Grease is here. So I was just very excited about that when I was 23. So.
And I know you said that, I remember reading one of your bios, you said kind of voice acting was like, well, this is something you decided to go into a voice acting class, like a thing to kind of see what it was. And that just, it seems like from then on, there was no looking back. It's just been your voiceover career has spanned cartoons, video games, feature films, et cetera, like that. And it's amazing to think about the breadth of your career, how much you've taken in, because as you know, I'm not telling you, but for the audience, if you're doing a movie, that's a 3-month commitment, where with a video game or a TV, you can knock out 5 or 6 at once if you're doing a voice part.
Yeah, if you're really lucky. I mean, I think in hindsight, everybody's career, no matter who it is and how amazing they are, it kind of looks like they just took off like a shot and never stopped. But the reality is it's, been quite a while since I first started it. And I say this not to throw, smoke over anything amazing you're saying, but also to just be transparent to anybody who has the aspirations to go into this world, be it as a writer, producer, director, art director, animator. It's very cyclical, and it's going to take quite a while before you get any kind of real traction. If you get really lucky, that will be the rare, that's very rare. So it does look like I took off like a shot, but I can promise you it wasn't quite that, I was still going out for tons of auditions. And there was
Right.
a period where I was doing both on camera and voiceover, and sometimes needing to make a choice as to what I really put my budget and my focus on, because there was only so much to go around. It was a different age. The 90s were a golden age in terms of animation,
Mhm.
video games starting to really get the bandwidth to do voiceover rather than a few lines. And of course, you know, television blew up with 80 million channels where it had just been the 3 and then the 4, and then suddenly it was like boom. So, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to think about, and I hope it didn't seem like I was being dismissive of all the work you put in by saying,
not
"Look at
at
your
all.
career," because obviously, you've obviously worked hard and dedicated yourself to your craft, which is why you're as successful as you are. So if that came off that way, I didn't mean to come off that way, but yes,
Not at all.
to your point,
No,
there's
I'm basically reassuring people that it's not like you take a class and then you're set. It takes a lot to build anything that's any semblance of consistent work, unless you're lucky to be Spielberg's niece. Which
right. then it's a little different story. But I
But
want
even
to.
then, I mean, even just to say it out loud, even if you have a little bit of healthy nepotism in there, you still, I mean, anybody will say, yeah, you may get your foot in the door, but you got to prove yourself.
Right. At the end of the day, you've got to have the talent. Otherwise, it's just me like, yeah, we're kind of, we let you in, but, so to that point, yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask one of the things, because we just recently had Carl Lumley on. One of your early TV appearances was on Mantis, which, again, those 90 shows tend to be blowing up, because I can't tell you how many people came up to Carl Lumley at our con and wanted him to sign the Mantis photos. He was kind of surprised. He was, I was just in the new Captain America movie, right? But people are coming up and writing that. So
Right.
I can imagine everyone I've ever talked with who's worked with Carl just says he's such a gentleman, such a fantastic talent. And I guess working on that show in the episode you worked on, I assume he was the same back then.
Oh my gosh. I have to Google that. And now that you've said that, now I've got to go track down that image and see if I can make an 8x10, because now it's going to be out there. It did come up. People will stand in front of my booth and they'll scroll through and they'll be like, "Do you have anything from?" But that was sci-fi, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess I should probably be prepared. I remember I was so young. I remember very little about that. I played, if you can believe it, I played a security guard. It's like, I don't know how I managed to squeeze by on that casting. I played a security guard at the age of 24. And we must have been a museum that we were guarding some sort of an artifact that a villain was trying to get to. I remember very little, but of course he was lovely. I did not know. I was so naive, and we didn't have. I mean, people know this, but they forget. The 90s, we couldn't Google things. We didn't have IMDb.
No.
We didn't have any way to quickly look up anybody's credits. So I relied on what people told me. And again, this just kind of ages me and shows people how young and naive I was. The big deal for that show, I'm so sorry, Carl, I mean, no disrespect, was that Roger Reese was on it, and he was on Cheers.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this he played the bestie or assistant to Carl Lumley's character.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that sounds right.
And British and proper and charming, but he had a regular recurring role on Cheers, the sitcom Cheers. So I was all excited that I was going to get to work with him.
No, who doesn't love Cheers? I mean, come on. that's a class.
Yes, Carl, I remember being a real gentleman, and I was very nervous. I think particularly because I was having to pull out a baton and look threatening, and I looked about as threatening as Mickey Mouse. It was like, are you kidding me?
They must have known. Usually casting people, it's been my experience, they usually know what they're doing, though. So they must have seen just what they wanted. So, I mean, yeah. Do you remember, was there a lot of your early TV stuff? Was there a particular one that, I mean, like I said, we've got so many to talk about between, Caroline in the City, Ellen, we talk about Babylon 5. Do you remember a certain TV show that you were on that was the best experience ever for you?
100%. I mean, there's 2 of them for different reasons, and they're both major Disney. They are Disney legends. They are regular pop culture. They are legends. Angela Lansbury on Murder, She Wrote. Oh OMG. That was also what was cool is my grandparents were really excited and they could care less about what I was up to other than when I was able to say that I had booked a guest star on Murder, She Wrote. Man, that was, I mean, there's no way to describe how special that was. For one thing, it was a week-long shoot. I had several scenes, which was the first time that had happened. It was also my first 1-hour drama. So that was really exciting. And I really learned a lot. And the co-stars on it, the other guest stars and co-stars were all seasoned veterans who I must have drove them. I was asking so many questions. I had no idea what a lot of the terminology was. And a lot of that you just don't learn until you're actually on a set.
Sure.
So I learned a lot, but one of the things that Angela Lansbury is legendary for beyond her amazing acting and her heart was her generosity with regards to how she ran things. She made sure that every person that was a part of that production felt respected, important, cared about. Actors were treated like VIPs, whether or not you were background or co or guest, and everybody. And so the whole set was a very upscale, amazing production. And that was my first real, everything from wardrobe. I stole a few of my dresses. Actually, they're still in my closet. I couldn't possibly fit into them because I was like size 0, like everybody was in their 20s back then. But it was extraordinary. And my favorite memory, Angela, of course, goes way back to the golden age of Hollywood and black and white. Some major classics like Gaslight, the movie Gaslight. But of course, she's a Broadway star.
Yes.
And my first introduction to her was, even though I was a Disney fan, wasn't Bedknobs and Broomsticks. It was Sweeney Todd.
Oh my gosh, of course.
And I had actually been honored I saw her when I was like I was so young, I didn't know. And God bless my grandparents. I'm sure my mother was mortified that they had taken me to that because it's not exactly a family friendly show in its original with all the blood and everything, but it was amazing. And I remembered her from that being the funny, lighthearted, sort of the most humane of the characters in a sense, and certainly the only female you saw a lot of. Joanna was sort of just like the Disney heroine of it, but sorry, I'm getting totally
you're totally fine.
But anyway, where the story is going is that I finally got up the nerve. We were shooting on the legendary New York streets of the Universal backlot.
Oh, no way.
The ones that they'd shot The Sting on. And I mean, it was the iconic New York. Because this is when her character Jessica had finally moved to New York from Cabot Cove. It was sort of the later couple of seasons where she'd moved to New York. So it took place there, and I finally got up the nerve to go up to her. She was surrounded by a makeup person and a producer, and I think they were discussing something script-wise, and I just stood politely by for like 4 minutes to see if I might be able to say hello and thank her. And somebody motioned me over. Somebody saw that I was standing there looking like a little street urchin begging for a moment of attention, and she was lovely. And she said, give me one second. And I'm not going to try to imitate her dialect or anything like that, but she was like, how are you? It's so nice to meet you. You're doing such a wonderful job. And I was like, Miss Lansbury, I am such a fan of Sweeney Todd. And she literally bust out laughing with one of those gut belly amazing laughs of hers. And she said, God bless you, dear, for not, for remembering that and knowing that. Like, she was so touched that I knew her from Broadway and not from Murder, She Wrote. Or Bedknobs and Broom. I mean, she loves all of those, but obviously that's her real roots. So.
Wow. No, I love that. These are the kind of stories I love to hear, because that's those little moments between people is, because we think of these people bigger than life on your TV or your movie. And then those little, human moments are so wonderful to hear about. So I loved it.
Yeah, she was amazing. Yeah.
I want to talk, because I don't want to end this on a low note. So let's talk a little bit about pediatric cancer. I know, was it 2011 or 2012 that you first realized something was amiss?
2012.
2012. And I know I don't want to dig too much deep into the details, but obviously it was something that you kind of figured out. Your doctor said, it'll go away on its own. It was a big deal, come to find out. And this was, I'm going to try to pronounce it correctly, dermatofibrosarcoma.
We did great. It's an impossible word. Dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans is the technical term. It's a very malignant and aggressive form of, and it wasn't, that was bad enough, but where it appeared, which was inside my skull, as opposed to any other part of the body where it would have been not awesome, but at least a much more straightforward get in, get out. So yes.
Especially for someone in your line of work, because where it was, that would affect, they said that it could leave part of your face and paralyze part of the speech. So as someone in the, all the career you've got, that had been the worst news you could have gotten. Now, obviously no one wants to get, no matter where it is, but the fact that it was there, and then the big search for a surgeon who would actually deal with it. Just if you want to, however much you want to talk about it, but let people know that's why you're so dedicated to pediatric cancer and the charities that you do and everything. So if you would just talk a little bit about that.
Okay, a little bit without getting into it too deep. Yes, it was a terrifying diagnosis, and it was a multi-layered terrifying diagnosis, and it had actually never been correctly diagnosed in America prior to it being game over. Like I was a couple steps before game over. Oof. Because normally, because it hides itself in benign tissue. And for those, sorry, I don't want to sound too technical. It hides itself in innocent, healthy tissue. That's what makes it's almost like it's villainous because it doesn't show up the way other cancer might show up. Yeah. And sadly, because of that, it went undetected for so long. And that's how it normally is. It just sits there dormant until they guesstimated roughly 65, the age of 60, 65, when the body shifts and hormones shift. And for everybody, it's a little bit different. But had it not been discovered that, maybe a decade and a half short of that, it just would have, the outer coating, I describe it as a candy-coated gumball. The outer coating would have disintegrated by then, and it would have been gone immediately viral as a deadly cancer to the bloodstream, and in my case, the brain. And that's how it would show up after the fact, like after somebody had been, unfortunately, not survived, and then they do the autopsy and discover that that's what it was after the fact. I'm the only, so far, at that point, the only person on record where it had been discovered ahead of time. Wow. And enough time to at least try to figure out how to remove it. Germany was the one who correctly diagnosed it, by the way. The labs in America were misdiagnosing it and calling it benign or unidentifiable. And this is before the Me Too movement. This is before a lot of things have changed. Yeah. Transparency and a lot of things that would have better set me up for at least the medical system supporting it a bit better. But I had to, like you said, I had to really fight not only to get the correct diagnosis back from Germany and Switzerland, but then to find somebody in America who was able or willing to take on such a scary, challenging kind of a surgery. Because there's no nice way to paint this, but there's there's articles out there that do a nice job of describing it, but it required actually taking me apart. Oof. And putting me back together, or hoping to put me back together. And I did not have speech immediately. I had to relearn to speak. And it was the best case scenario for such an awful situation, in that my amazing surgeon got in there and got out without breaching any of the senses, without permanently removing any of my senses. Because if you think about it, the skull is just... Oh my gosh, yeah. It's all networks of all of our senses. So to get something that large out without damaging. It's extraordinary.
And obviously, that trying to find the doctor to do it because you want to obviously to get it done quick. But I remember reading in one of the articles there was some doctor who wanted to drill a hole straight through, and it would have been this big invasive surgery, as opposed to, if I'm getting it right, was it Dr. Alessi who was able to do the surgery properly?
Yes, and you said it right too. Thank you. He was that rare bird who was a maverick and had a maverick spirit, and was not just one PhD. It would have been great enough if he was a brain surgeon. Like, that would have been right. I mean, I can't claim anywhere close to that. Like, that's an amazing thing to be, as a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
On top of being a brain surgeon, he was an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. He understood the whole combination, everything that's combined in all of that, which is what this was really impeding, as well as a plastic surgeon, which is a whole other part of the medical field. He was all 3 PhDs.
My gosh.
So I think that's what, and people say, oh my God, you were so lucky. Yes, I guess you could say in a sense that I was lucky that there was some way to address it. But the fact that I was the person that had this doesn't exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of lucky. I guess it was a relative term, but.
It is. And he absolutely saved my life, and absolutely was the only one who stepped up and said, I believe I can do this and save you. And it was going to be, again, I say this for anybody who has, and it's so prevalent right now. I mean, cancer seems to be touching everybody. And if it hasn't yet, God bless you. And I hope it never does, but to everybody out there, but it seems to be something, my sister, my mother, my uncle, it's so prevalent. And I like to say this out loud so people know the diagnosis is awful. The diagnosis is scary. It always will be. But there are ways to move forward if you're willing to have, or try to have, the courage to take one baby step at a time forward. That's the big message that I always say to people, because I was one of those people. I was literally, I had what was close to what you might say an emotional meltdown when I was given the diagnosis. I was so young, and I'm basically being told, well, you've got maybe 6 months to 2 years. And I was so young, and it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, literally one day I was fine, and the next day I'm, so I just say to everybody, I want the story to be out there, because I hope it gives hope. I hope if someone Googles this awful diagnosis, they know that it's something that can be addressed.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It took a good 3 years of the physical surgeries and mending, 3 years. A lot of little ones, all, one step at a time. When something else healed, then we could address something else. It did not happen instantly like it does in movies where you sort of crossfade. And then emotional healing and just putting the life back together takes even more than that.
Yeah.
And I say that so that people don't feel guilty or wrong or bad. Everybody wants everything to be in the rearview mirror that's uncomfortable. But something like that, it's not going to be for a long time, if ever. And it's okay.
Yeah.
You've been through something traumatic, and it's okay that you feel what you're feeling. So I try to get that message out too to people who, in some parts of America, it's not cool to still be upset about something that happened 3 or 5 years ago. So
no, I mean, obviously something that big too, it takes an emotional toll that you're always going to kind of have with you. That's something that's, in addition to the physical, obviously, like you just said, the mental aspects of it that people don't, I mean, we have just been recently in the past couple of decades talking about PTSD out loud for people who have gone through things like that. As it's we need to get to the point where we kind of do remove that stigma about talking about mental health, because it's just as important in many cases as one's physical health. So I think it's a great message, and I really appreciate you being so candid about it and sharing that with us.
thank you.
And so if people are listening, if you want to come see Kat at Toyman in St. Louis, we're going to have a link to that, where I know, to keep it kind of in line here, you donate a part of your proceeds that you make at these appearances to, is it specifically pediatric cancer research?
So yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. So it's basically, I mean, I vary them up throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I've designated because it's sort of towards the holidays, and it's one of my favorites. Part of it is going to Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
And part of it, which is a very popular, people really know that one. It's a very well publicized and beautiful organization and charity, but also to the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, which is dedicated. It's actually this one's not so much about research. It's about supporting the families, providing funding or financial support for the families and the patient/child in the family who's going through treatment. So it's more to support their livelihood or their upkeep or their housing as they're going through the treatment, because especially for a lot of people, it's very expensive. They're subsidizing it out of their wallet. It's not all covered. And so that's what that specifically does. If they do have research, I apologize. I was just made aware of them as being, at least when I started donating to them or contributing to their organization, that it was mostly about support of the families and the patient.
Yeah, and I know we've got Cardinal Glennon's hospital here in St. Louis that does a great job with just that very thing and making sure that the family is taken care of as well, who sometimes are in the hospital for extended stays while their children are going through this. So they have a great cause. Are you okay to stick with us for a little while longer if I take a quick commercial break?
Of course. We'd love to.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break. If I can find the right mouse here. I've got too many mice in the studio. Electronic mice. We don't have mice in the studio. I want that rumor to get out. We're going to take a very brief commercial break. We're going to come right back. We'll chat more with Kat Cressida. I know I've been ignoring your text. I just realized I've got the text pulled up. We will get some of your texts. And if you want to text us on the KTRS text line at 84126, we'll get to those and we'll talk more about Kat's upcoming appearance here at Toyman and some of her other career highlights. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS.
At food markets only.
It's the Action Kids. What in the world are they up to now?
Let's get right down to business.
Business? What business?
Fun business!
The Fun Pack Carry-All Action Playset by Marx. Look, this opens up the wild action world of Fort Apache. With Indians, cavalrymen, shell-shooting cannons. And here are the fighting knights with a real drawbridge, knights, Vikings, and rock-throwing catapults. Here's the boot camp with 10 Jeep bullet-shooting machine guns and 80 soldiers. Or land a helicopter at Cape Kennedy. Fire the rockets, back the space missile into the launching pad, and start the countdown. It's off into space. Zoom! Get Fort Apache. Get the Fighting Knights. Get the boot camp. Get Cape Kennedy. Get all four. And carry your own world of action wherever you go.
That's MastercarsInc.com.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday night on the Big 550. It's 9 o'clock Central if you're located in the greater St. Louis area. If you're listening to us out there on anywhere in the United States, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, make an appointment. Join us every Sunday. Next Sunday on the show, we've got my interview with Victor Caroli. He's the guy who did all the narration for the Transformers cartoons, in addition to a lot of other voice work. I've got my interview with him next Sunday. So when you're coming out of your Thanksgiving-induced turkey coma, turn on KTRS and we'll have a brand new show for you next Sunday as well. We'll make sure we tell you about our premier sponsor, Discover St. Charles. This is coming up on Thanksgiving, which means the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Get out there to St. Charles. Don't go to the mall. Don't go to the hustle and bustle of the big box stores. Go out and shop historic St. Charles, this gorgeous district, the cobblestone streets, all the independent little small independently owned shops like Chuck and Lou, like the Cozy Shop, like First Capital Trading Inc., all sorts of cool places. If you're hungry while you're out there, you don't have to worry about, oh, should we go to the Orange Julius or the Auntie Pretzels? No. You can go to Salt and Smoke if you want barbecue. You can go to Magpies if you want some blackberry cobbler. You can go down to, they have an Insomnia cookie in the North Main section, the main house if you want a really nice steak. Whatever kind of food you're looking for, whatever kind of shops you're in the mood for, St. Charles is going to be the place you want to go out there on Main Street. Plus, you'll be there for opening day of Christmas Traditions. This is the biggest and longest running Christmas festival in the country. This season is their 51st season of doing Christmas traditions. You can go out there and interact with international gift givers like La Befana from Italy, Père Noël from France, and of course, Victorian Santa will be hanging out at the Katy train depot for you to go get your pictures taken. And Friday nights, not Black Friday, but usually on Friday nights, will be Krampusnacht. So you can go get your picture taken with Krampus and the Mary Lloyd and the Kali Consroy and the little darker side of Christmas. It's a lot of fun to come out and see people dressed up for that as well. So if you're looking for some holiday plans, may I recommend historic St. Charles. The website, discoverstcharles.com. If you're from out of town, like our friend Kat, or if you're here locally and you're at Alton, Illinois, or just haven't been across the bridge for a while, you can plan your trip, find a place to stay that's going to suit your style and budget if you want 5-star luxury hotel, or if you'd like a charming bed and breakfast. All this is on the website. Once again, discoverstcharles.com. Plan your Christmas, plan your trip, come out and see us. Discoverstcharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Chatting for a little while longer here with Kat Cressida. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, as I choke, we had, you heard Kevin Conroy bringing us back from a commercial break, and I remember he obviously famously did the voice of Batman and Batman the Animated Series. He did the Arkham games, too, and you've done video games. You've voiced the same character, Jesse, in video games and in the cartoons and the movies. Kevin always said, boy, the video games are a little bit harder because you're in a studio by yourself and they're like, okay, now give us the same line, but do it with a wry smile. Okay, now a little more up at the end. Do you find there was a big difference for you professionally doing the video games versus doing the movies or the TV series, even if you're doing the same character?
Well, first of all, hats off to you bringing up Kevin. What an amazing human being, and what a loss to us all.
Absolutely.
He's no longer with us, but he is iconic. He is a legend. He is Batman. To answer your question, I don't think that I ever really found. They all have their own challenges in different ways, and they're all amazing, and they're all such an honor to do. Video games can at times be very different in that they have to squeeze hundreds of lines within the session.
Sure.
So you're really just kind of going through them as quickly and rapidly as you can, changing up the emotions, changing up the delivery, giving them an A, B, and a C, or an A and a B, keeping the screams and the effort sounds for the end. You just kind of, it's like a train. You just go through it as quickly as you can, oftentimes, to hit as many lines as you can. Whereas in animation, as Tom Hanks has famously gone on record saying, you could say the same line maybe 58 times and they still won't even know which one they're using. They're going to play it against, the animation and the timing and the other actors' performances. But he was like, you do the same line 58 times,
right?
In Tom Hanks's, inimitable delivery. I don't mind that. That's my job. But sometimes it really can sound like you're saying the same line, as many different ways as you possibly can. And yeah.
I always think of George Costanza. These pretzels are making me thirsty. Like the do the same line delivered different ways, like Seinfeld.
Yeah. I recently did. So I think I can say this because it's come out already. I was honored to voice Captain Janeway for a World of Warships thing. And I'm not overly familiar with. I was growing up. I was much more Star Wars than Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But my dad was really into Star Trek, so we would have to watch it on Sunday afternoons.
Same.
So I was familiar enough. But the newer ones, I knew that she was groundbreaking, and that I think she was the first female captain. Yes. At least that was presented to audiences. Maybe not historically in the show's, book, but for viewers.
Yeah.
And what I remember about that session was it was very important how I hit the lines about coffee. And I was like, I don't understand why this is so, it's coffee. I don't understand why that's so important, but apparently that's like a big thing for her was her coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I remember that session. I was walking away going, I had to say the word coffee so many different ways and so many different times. I learned a lot from that session.
And I promised to get to the texts and chats here during, let's see, we've got, if I go over to the Facebook side, John Poe says hello. Hope everyone's having a great Sunday. Big fan of Kat. Keenan Sargent says hello. We've got SJ's MyFlocks listening from the West Coast says hello. And we've got the YouTube chats over here. Our friend Olivia Miller says, I love Dexter's Laboratory. People obviously love Dee Dee. and making sure, is she going to return? I don't know if you can't answer this question from Olivia again. Are you returning for Toy Story 5? Can you say anything about it?
I'm able to say that I'm as excited as everybody else that there's a Toy Story 5.
Okay. Contractually, obviously, we don't want to get you in any trouble, so we appreciate that bit of info.
It is important to say out loud, Joan Cusack is the voice of Jessie the Cowgirl. I'm very honored to be her voice double for all kinds of things.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about as far as the voice doubling, because it's we just had James Arnold Taylor on talking about the different, people come in and double for voices like I think Julia Roberts, Angelina Jolie, Nicole Kidman, Anne Hathaway, Scarlett Johansson. I'm probably missing a few. Penelope Cruz, I think. Is there one person you found harder to double than another?
Sure. I mean, absolutely. There are some voices that are just so almost close to me in certain situations with certain emotions, which is what sort of leads the voice, that it comes out of my mouth almost sounding pretty close. And then there's some where it's a lot more adjustments with all kinds of things to sound as close as I possibly can to them. And voice doubling, just to say it out loud for those who understandably don't know that term or haven't heard it before, it's also called voice matching.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from impersonation.
Right.
And impersonation is what Robin Williams, for example, is very famous for. And many, many voice actors are brilliant at impersonations. And that's where you take on and magnify certain things about their personality and their voice so that they're immediately identified as Jack Nicholson or William Shatner or, Christian Bale, whomever you're basically sort of parroting or impersonating. So you immediately get who they are. And it's for laughs. Mm-hmm. It's almost always for the comedy of it. Whereas voice doubling is almost the exact opposite. It's not blatant, it's not in your face, and it's certainly not for laughs. You are trying to get as close as you possibly can to the way that person really sounds when they're just talking in all kinds of situations, so that you create the audio illusion that you are that actor for those lines or for that toy or for that video game. Video games comes up quite often. Yeah. So.
And with all we talked at the very beginning of the show about all the different toys and all the different things that have been made of characters you've given the voice to and everything, do you have a huge collection? Like, I've got to have this, or are you not a sentimental person? Like, I don't have room for that, because I've heard people go both ways. Some people either have everything they've ever voiced, and some people are like, nah, my kids don't care. I've got other stuff. So is it a huge collection you have, or nothing at all?
I mean, I have an absurd amount of things given the fact that I'm not a collector per se. Like, I'm looking around my studio and there's like all kinds of really cool stuff. I mean, I just found this. This is such a great Disney animator. That's from Hercules.
Yes.
And that's supposed to be me sort of as Meg, because I was doing a little bit for that movie. And this is fun too. I don't know if anybody cares about this stuff, but this is from the original animator who did Timon.
Oh, how cool.
And I ended up next to him at a restaurant while I was right outside of Disney Studios while I was voice doubling for something else for Disney. And he just did that.
Oh.
So I've got all kinds of amazing stuff around here. This one. I know this is a very cool thing for Star Wars fans. Can you see what that is?
Honorary 501st. Lovely.
Yeah, for doing Princess Leia for some video games. So, I mean, all this stuff is great, and it inspires me and reminds me during those days where I'm just like, I'm on my 51st audition of the day. It's like, keep going, Yeah. There's magic at the end of the rainbow if you keep pushing hard. But if I were a collector, I'd be in big trouble. They'd probably find me dead, surrounded by piles of Funko Pops. People are so sweet. They gift all kinds of magical things to me. And some of it I definitely keep, because here's one. I hope this doesn't shock your audiences. Anybody know Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Oh my gosh, of course.
So I was sitting opposite him at a fan event last year. This is, of course, Barry Bostwick.
Yes.
Who was Brad in Rocky Horror Picture Show, which for me as a kid was a big deal. And so I've got these hanging up in my studio. But there's a lot of stuff that I just couldn't possibly hang on to, and I do try to be respectful, and sometimes we'll do a charity auction with the stuff or
Yeah.
donate it for a really good cause. I feel terribly, but I couldn't. Yes.
Oh, I'm sure
there's
it's
a
hard to
lot.
keep. Yeah, I'm sure it's very hard to keep everything. I mean, that's especially with all the things you've done and then all the people you get to meet at these amazing conventions. Again, like Toyman, which is coming up here it is December the 7th, I believe. I got the date right on that. December the 14th.
No,
14th.
December
14th. Thank you.
Yeah.
14th. Yes. So December
2 weeks
14th.
after Thanksgiving, and perfectly situated before Christmas. I find this, and I'm not saying this as a sales technique, but when I really thought about it, I mean, at first I was like, really? I'm going to come out to St. Louis right before Christmas? It seemed to me like, okay, well, aren't people going to be really focused just on prepping for the holidays? And then my brain went, yeah, girl, because it's like a collector show.
Yeah.
So those people who still haven't gotten gifts or need to find a gift for that special someone who they can't think of what to get, there's going to be so many amazing vendors for sure. I'm not getting paid to say this. It really is astonishingly bright and kind of ingenious to have this show 2 weeks before the big event.
No.
So
Yeah.
that you can relax and go, you know what? I haven't done all my shopping, but I'm going to go have a great time and find some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I think without exaggerating, there's probably something there for everyone if they're at all into anything having to do with TV, film, video games, and collecting.
No, it's insane because the amount of vendors that Chris has there at Toyman. For those of you listening, this is the Toyman that we talked about before. It's right there at the Machinist Hall at the intersection of 270 and the Rock Road in Bridgeton. He's got oh my gosh, there it is. Obviously, Kat will have things you can get. So if you're looking for someone, like if you know you've got a Disney fan, like she said at the very beginning of the show, she's going to have some of the stuff that's been vaulted that you can get, exclusive stuff that you probably cannot get online, and then you can have Kat sign it for you. So this is going to be a great thing if you're trying to find that special something for that Disney collector for Christmas and you want to blow everyone else out of the water, because it's competitive gift giving, let's be honest. If you want to get something really cool, go to Toyman. It's $5 to get in. You can do an early bird, I think for $10, get you in an hour early, so you can go check out Kat's stuff before everyone else gets to it, and give you that extra time to say hello to her and tell her how much you've enjoyed her projects that she's worked on, her video games, her cartoons, everything like that. And then browse around, because there's all these different vendors, and people don't bring the same stuff. Our friend Spike, who's always there, has toys from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. We've got a guy who does nothing but movie posters. There's a guy who does nothing but board games. And I'm sure Chris announces all of his guests far enough in advance that there'll be people who bring stuff, specialty, that you'll be able to have Kat sign. And they've also got a fantastic Star Wars creator there as well, who did the concept for R2-D2. So it'll be a fantastic show. So make sure you go check that out. December the 14th at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton. I believe doors open at 9 a.m. Early bird starts at 8.
8? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it starts at 8 for like the early bird.
Yes.
Yeah, preview.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. If people want to find out more about you, I know the website is at catcressida.com. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. If people want to check.
Actually, if they're interested in the shows, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overlap.
No.
But if they're interested in the shows and the events or seeing me sign things, that's all on my Instagram and my Instagram stories. Every day, I post a bunch of IG stories to see what I'm up to, or recent shows or things that I'm bringing out, especially for you.
Perfect. And so, yeah, follow our Instagram as well. We'll have a link to our Instagram site. And remember, this is helping pediatric cancer as well as the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it's for a good cause. You'll be able to get some cool things for yourself, get some cool gifts for your, loved ones or friends, if that's what you want to do. If you want to be a little less selfless than me, you can do all those fun things. It has been such a delight to visit with you again, Kat Cressida. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to see you next month.
Thank you, James. Yes, I want to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your night. Take care.
Thank you.
There she goes. We're going to do a quick commercial break. And again, we'll have those in the show notes, all the links to everything we just discussed. So we'll take that brief break now. We'll come back, and Joey B will review Train Dreams. I cannot think of anything that. Train Dreams, I'll review The Beast in Me, both new Netflix projects. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550. Please stand by.
And you get a powerful launcher to send him sky high, zooming through space just like Superman does in his adventures.
Now, you'll want to be one of the first to have your own flying Superman, so listen carefully, because here's all you do to get yours. Send one box top from Kellogg's Corn Flakes and just 10 cents. That's one box top and just 10 cents to Flying Superman, Box 330, Battle Creek, Michigan. Or use the handy order blank right on the Kellogg's Corn Flakes package. Get your Flying Superman from Kellogg's now.
The Remco Movie Land Drive-In Theater is straight ahead. Here it is now, Betty. Today's double feature. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. It looks terrific, Jimmy. Drive right in and park. Let me show you how it works. Switch on the projector, turn the film knob, and you'll see 6 exciting still features. Have Gun Will Travel and Heckle and Jekyll. Captain Kangaroo and Dinky Duck. Mighty Mouse and Farmer Alfalfa.
Hi, this is Kat Cressida, the voice of Dee Dee from Dexter's Laboratory, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show, Geek to Me Radio. My thanks again to Kat Cressida. If you missed that, it'll be up on YouTube here within the week. You can check out the full interview. My thanks to her. What a fantastic individual, worthy cause, such a great story. I really enjoyed our conversation. Hopefully you did too. Speaking of conversations, I want to tell you about Bugs Comics and Games. Hopefully you came out this weekend for his big 50% off sale. I know a lot of you did. I was out there Friday. A lot of people were out grabbing those wall books, grabbing some books from the case. And then I heard from Larry that Saturday was super busy, which is great. And I brought some of my family out with me today. And we shopped a little bit more of the last part of his sale. Even if it's not 50% off, he still has fantastic prices. If you are looking for a new place to get your comic books, if you're local in the greater St. Louis, St. Charles area, Bugs Comics and Games, right there on Bryan Road in O'Fallon, Missouri, easily accessible from either Highway 70 or from Highway 364. Go check him out. A lot of fun things out there between toys, games, cards, comics, new comics, and old comics. He has a couple boxes full of just Dell and Gold Key Gold Key and Dell. He had cartoon-related ones, TV-related ones, westerns. So it's not just your typical superhero fare if you're looking for something a little unique. And he just posted a great video of Santa Claus, who visited Bugs Comics this weekend. And Santa Claus made sure to tell everyone to shop for Bugs Comics and Games for your comic book needs, for your gift giving. Check him out on Instagram, Bugs Comics and Games. Follow him and like his Instagram page. And of course, Facebook.com/Bugs Comics and Games, our very favorite comic book store and the official comic book store of Geek to Me Radio. As we get out of the hour here, we got a little bit of time left. Joey V and I have been looking at some Netflix lately because they've had a lot of really cool stuff come out here just in the past couple of weeks. Joey V wanted to review Train Dreams, which I had not. Wrong one, didn't I? There we go.
What's up, James? Thank you so much for having me on the show again.
Of course, my gosh, are you kidding?
You're my beautiful baby boy. Now, Train Dreams, it just plopped on Netflix on Friday, and this thing is beautiful. I definitely see it in the Oscar race. It's about a lumberjack, and he also helps build the railroads. And it's just a simple story, but it's shot so beautifully. You could tell that they were using real sunsets. I mean, the purples and the pinks, they pop, and they've got everything naturally lit. So this is set in the early 1900s, so everything has candlelight, and the guy builds a log cabin for his wife. And it really is just heartbreaking how just one guy's simple story, when told with the right actors and the right guys framing it up, just will break your heart. So I really recommend Train Dreams. It's got Taron Egerton. He's a beardy guy that was from Zero Dark 30. And it's got Felicity Jones. She's from Rogue One. I just think it's so poetic, too. You've got William H. Macy in it, and he'll say something like, "Cutting down trees that are 500 years old has an effect on a man's soul, whether he knows it or not." Just that old-timey knowledge, and everyone looks like they are straight out of the 1900s. All the beautiful character actors that are in it, it's really immersive. Another great line I like from William H. Macy, he says, "I have family anywhere there's a smile, except for Kansas. Kansas is a state of savage lunatics." So you can tell it was written by someone who knew the poetry of the time, and it was made by these guys who did Sing Sing. That was one of my favorite movies of last year. That's the one where the guys do the acting in the prison. And so just check out Train Dreams if you can. I got very mad at Netflix. They do that thing where I'm crying and they're playing the credits and the song is playing and I'm thinking, oh man, this song is going to get nominated for an Oscar. And then it autoplays some trailer for something else that I don't care about. And then because I don't have Netflix Premium, I got to sit through another commercial so I can go back and listen to the song. And I did it again. I messed it up twice. It took me 3 times to listen to this freaking song. But I think it's going to get nominated as well. So Train Dreams, I could see Best Picture and Best Song and maybe adapted screenplay as well.
Is it an original song for the movie?
Yeah, I believe so.
Original song for the movie?
Yeah, it's called Train Dreams, and I've never heard it before, so it's got to be an original song for the movie. It's by Nick Cave and one of the members of The National. So.
And you said for picture and best song, you don't think acting-wise, is it just because you see other people getting nominated, or the acting was good but not Oscar nomination worthy?
Maybe. I mean, it's such a tough race this year, but I could see maybe Felicity Jones or Taron Egerton getting nominated. I'm just not an Oscar expert right now for Train Dreams, but just beautiful, though.
All right, and that's on Netflix if you're wanting to check that out based on Joey V's review. So I take it you letterboxed it. What'd you give it on Letterboxd? How many stars?
I give it 4 out of 5.
Okay. You've been doing a lot of 4 out of 5s lately. I feel like you've been liking a lot of movies this year.
I try not to watch crud, you know. I have not seen Wicked 1 or 2, and my life is better for it.
Oh my gosh, they said that was all 145 million at the box office this weekend?
Just a bunch of sad people walking out of a 2.5-hour movie. That's what I imagine.
Part 2 of a 2.5-hour movie, too, which I know people are saying, it's not part 2, it's a movie unto itself. They did part 2. If you watch Wicked, they did the whole thing on Broadway in one. You don't have to come back for part 2 the next week. If you see it on Broadway.
Not to yuck anyone's yum, but I have no patience for the Wicked and the theater people in general. So sorry, James.
Sorry to all my theater listening friends. Yeah. I know I love you, but that's Joey V's views. His views do not express mine or the views of this station or its management or owners.
Theater kid energy is something you really have to be accustomed to, and I'm not just yet.
I understand, but see, the more I hang out with him, the closer he is to getting accustomed to him. It's like an old man easing into the bathwater.
Wait till you hear my views on the Shakespeare movie. Oh, I hated the Shakespeare's.
All right, that's the Hamnet.
Yeah, but you go on.
No, all right, we'll get to that one next week. So just in the minute or two I've got left here, we randomly found, we're going through, my wife and I were like, what do you want to watch tonight? What do you want to watch tonight? We found one, we're like, this looks good. We like Claire Danes because we liked Homeland. And I go all the way back to when she did Romeo and Juliet in 1996, I think, 95 or 96, 95. So I'm like, let's check this one out. It was good. I mean, she's a writer who's kind of in a bit of a slump. She had this fantastic book nominated for all these awards and everything like that, and she can't get through her second book. She's been stalling and she hasn't gotten anywhere. This person moves in next to her is this rich guy who may or may not have killed his wife. People don't know. Evidently, they think she committed suicide and no one found the body, but they strongly suspect he did it. He presents himself as a really charming guy, a little bit off-putting, but it's a whole thing. I can't give you all the details in the next 20 seconds here, but I can say the acting is phenomenally good. This is probably going to get some Golden Globe attention, I think, just based on what I saw of it. Claire Danes was great. The acting all around is fantastic. I can't think of any of the actors' name. They're blanking, but the woman who played Oswald's mom in the Penguin series is in this as her publisher. And it's phenomenal. You should really check this one out. It's on Netflix as well. It's called The Beast in Me. I'd give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars if we can rate TV series in the same way we do movies. So that's my assessment of that one. So hopefully you'll check out Train Dreams and check out this if you have Netflix. If not, don't worry about it.
I'll give you my mom's password. Hit us up. Leave your name in the comments.
Good enough. There we go. I'm clicking on this thing like 8 times. It's finally playing, so we're going to be a little late with the outro. But thank you to Kat Cressida. Again, make sure you check out Toyman Toy Show, December the 14th. Make sure you're at that show. This is going to be fantastic. Chris McQuillan, his Christmas show is always one of the best ones of the year, so make sure you get out there for that. Thank you to Kat. Thank you to Chris McQuillan for arranging the interview. Thank you to Julie Lally for helping out with the interview as well. Thank you to Joey V, who do you have a camera on you right now?
Yeah, I do. And then Chris McQuillan said hi in the YouTube comments. Hi.
Hi, Chris McQuillan. We appreciate all of you listening. I'm sorry I didn't get more to your chats today as I tried to pull them up, but there was a lot going on. Until next week, my friends.
From ABC, the Big 550, KTRS, St. Louis.
The reality is war. Ukraine and the U.S. meeting in Geneva reporting progress on a path to end Russia's war. Russia punishing Ukraine with missiles. As a deal favoring Russia